Look, this is not a problem that's just going to go away on its own. You can't keep running away from this. At some point you're going to have to accept that the negative thoughts are there. You can't keep pushing them under the surface. You can't keep kicking them under the rug. You can't keep pretending that they're not there, because negative thoughts carry with them a lot of negative energy, and if you're not managing them properly, then this negative energy is going to create great harm in our bodies. It can create disease. It can create depression and anxiety. It can make life a horrible experience. So when it comes to negative thoughts, it's not so much about dealing with negative thoughts themselves, but learning how to manage our minds in general. Because whether you're having negative thoughts, unwanted or intrusive thoughts, or just a never-ending stream of thoughts, the solution is still the same. These are not so much separate phenomenon, separate things, but rather the same thing happening. That is, we become attached to a specific identity. And this specific identity, when it gets attacked by negative thoughts, then we experience all the negative emotions, all the negative experiences that arise with these negative thoughts. The problem is that when we have a negative thought arise, here is our consciousness. Our consciousness, our awareness, it gets attached or latched onto the negative thought. So you and the negative thought become one. And so then you experience the reality and all the unpleasant things that the negative thought brings with it. And perhaps a better way to look at it is that, say a negative thought is arising in the mind, then there is an identity, and here is your consciousness. So your consciousness is attached to the identity, and now the identity is attached to the negative thought. Because what our identity is, that is what we choose to focus our attention on. That is where we point our mind. If I have identified as somebody who works out all the time, the moment I hear people talking about working out, my ears will perk up. If I identify as a musician or as an artist, when I hear other people talking about music or art, my ears will perk up. If I identify strongly with being on self-improvement, then when somebody else is talking about the same thing, it will pique my interest. And so too, whenever you have a negative thought that is attacking your identity, it will cause great interest. And so the key to transcending negative thoughts is simply this. You have your consciousness, your awareness. Everything, all of your experiences are arising and falling in the awareness. But what do most people do? I have an experience. Consciousness attaches on and says, I am having an experience. A negative thought arises. I am having a negative thought. A negative experience arises. I am having a negative experience. Anger arises, I am angry. Fear arises, I am fearful. We continue to attach our consciousness to an identity that experiences all these different things. And I'm not making a value judgment, I'm just saying this is what human beings do. And so the secret to transcending negative thoughts and to become a master of your mind in general is learning how to remain in the state of awareness, to remain as a non-attached awareness, to just observe. And this is a habit that is really a skill to be developed over time. But it is the most fundamental skill that every human being has. It is the very baseline. And so you are here as consciousness. A negative thought arises, a negative thought goes away. A negative emotion arises, a negative emotion goes away. Anger arises, anger goes away. Fear arises, fear goes away. You were here the whole time. You don't need to attach yourself to these experiences, but it's just the habit of getting drawn into them, and because everybody else is drawn into them, what they call being stuck in the illusion, we believe the illusion is the fact. In reality, at least in my own case, a negative thought arises, a negative thought goes away. I am not having negative thoughts, because guess what? In fact, I do not perceive a thought to be negative, because they are not negative. A thought is just a thought, and we project a negative charge onto it because of the identity that we've chosen to believe in. And of course, I am still human. From time to time, I get pulled into it. I fall short of the glory of God. And my negative thoughts would probably cripple the average person. But I have so much time learning how to deal with it that it has no effect, generally. And the odd time where I get pulled back into it, I can quickly realize that I've just been caught in the illusion again. And I don't have to go around telling everybody that you're trapped in the matrix, that reality is an illusion. Because, first of all, have you ever been woken up in the middle of a deep sleep or a dream? And ask yourself, what was your reaction to the person that woke you up? So you don't need to go around trying to wake people up, trying to get them to see the truth. You just let people be as they are. I remember one spiritual teacher that I really enjoy listening to. He said it like, if there was a play going on a stage, and you went up onto the stage and said, hey everybody, this is just a play, this is not real life, this is not real. You see how it's kind of ridiculous. But I digress. And so if you wish to learn how to remain in this space and not get attached to everything that arises, where all of your thoughts, all of your emotions, all of the circumstances in the external world are just pulling you all over the place, and you just can't seem to catch a break. I like to look at it as the roller coaster of life. You're just getting pulled all over the place. And people like me, and I know perhaps you are one as well, but we get motion sickness. We're tired of the being pulled in all these different directions. It's like if you were on a stream or a river and you're just constantly being pulled all over the place and drowning and going under and trying to get back up and drowning and struggling just to stay afloat. What I am talking about here is becoming one with the river. You become one with the flow of life the more you can remain in a state of non-attached awareness. But this can only be done through stillness of the mind. The mind must become quiet. And the more we can practice this skill, the deeper we go into it, and there is no end. And so the fundamental vehicle of practicing this skill is, of course, meditation. And I can only really share from my personal experience, but my meditation pretty much consists entirely of just being choicelessly aware. Sometimes I choose to focus on the breath, but really that's secondary for me. And so the first step is to really close your eyes and sit with yourself and just be aware of what is arising in your awareness. And what you will find is that when you close your eyes, there are really only a few things. There is a very subtle inner spaciousness, so you will experience the sense of space within. There are any thoughts that arise. There are any emotions that arise. There is a presence that exists within the inner spaciousness. You could say the presence is what fills the space. And then there is that which is aware of the presence of the inner spaciousness of the thoughts and the emotions. And so my meditation consists entirely of taking my awareness and shining it on the presence that is experienced in the moment. Because the presence is the radiance of consciousness. And consciousness is the force of harmony, it's the force of life, it's the creative force of existence. So when you focus your attention on the presence that consciousness radiates, you begin aligning yourself with harmony, with life, with balance. The more you can focus on this presence, the more you will be in complete harmony with the flow of life. And so too, the amount of distress that you will experience in your life all comes down to how attached you are to your mind identity, to your ego identity. How much you are attached to the body. How much you allow the mind to guide you. Because if you identify with the mind, if you identify with the body, you align yourself with separation. And separation is illusion, because there is an underlying unity behind all things. We understand very clearly that everything in the universe is just recycled star material, because stars are the creative force of the universe. They are what create life, create balance, create harmony. But they are fundamentally the creative force. And stars are just a lower frequency vibration representation of consciousness. And stars are the same thing, except for consciousness is not bound by the limits of the universe. It is unlimited, it is boundless. And so the more you can remain in this presence, the more all imperfections, the problems, the negativity, the more these things heal themselves. And you don't have to go running around trying to fix it all the time, to fix all your problems. That is why it was said that seek first the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God, and everything else will be added on to you. Because we're talking about the force of harmony. And when you align yourself with the force of harmony, your very nature becomes harmonious. And when we realize that the external circumstances are just a representation of what we feel or what we are within, then you realize the power of what I'm saying. The more harmony you can be with in yourself, the more harmony the world around you will be. But instead, people struggle and strive to create harmony in the external world, when inside, that is where the issues are. Your experience of life will always be bottlenecked by you. So master yourself. Because if you master yourself, you simultaneously master the universe. Because there is no separation. We and the universe are one. Life is a game of exploration, of self-discovery. Even without going spiritual with everything, if you simply returned to the present moment, every time you get pulled out of it, every time you get pulled into anxiety and negativity and stress, that healing force that is consciousness will start working its magic, its power. And rather than pretending we don't have negative thoughts or shoving it down, repressing it, we can just be aware of it, to neither be attached nor to avoid them. And in fact, at some point you will learn to send love to all things that are negative, because that is often what they need the most. So do not be at war with yourself. Be in harmony. Be at peace within. And you will create a more harmonious and peaceful world. Not by doing anything, but by simply being.